Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and today we are here to do a follow-up on the Kamiyah Mobley story. And as some of you already know, and for those who are not familiar with the case, Kamiyah was kidnapped when she was only a few days old, because her mom was still in the hospital when she was kidnapped. But she was kidnapped by a woman named Gloria Williams in Jacksonville, Florida. And she grew up, the lady raised her in South Carolina. And when Kamiyah was about 16 years old, she applied for a job. She got the job, but then she needed, well, actually there's two stories going around. One was that she needed her birth certificate to start working, because you know they ask for the two forms of identification when you get hired on a job. And then there are other stories that says that she was trying to get her driver's license, and that of course she needed identification. But whichever story is true, it was at that time that Gloria Williams told her that she couldn't give her the birth certificate because she had kidnapped her when she was a baby. And then Kamiyah would later tell a friend of hers that she was kidnapped at birth, and then the friend told her mom, and then of course the house of cards came tumbling down on Miss Gloria Williams, and she was arrested. And Kamiyah, earlier this year, I think the show was filmed in September of last year, but it actually aired this year on Iyanla Vanzant, and I'll put the link below, where Kamiyah came on Iyanla's show to fix her life, and she was there with her dad and a couple other people. And the mom, the birth mom, was supposed to be there, but she backed out at the last minute, and it turned into a huge fiasco. Kamiyah went off the deep end, cussed Iyanla out. It was just, they had to stop taping, and it was a mess. And I actually have two videos. I have video from the recap of the actual show, and then I posted a second video that included some Facebook Lives that Kamiyah's biological father did, and where he was criticizing Iyanla and giving his side of the story of what actually happened when they went to be on the show. And like I said, I'll put both of those links below. So back in May, I think it was around May 20th, May 21st, they had what was called a sentencing hearing. And that's where they basically, so Gloria Johnson pleaded guilty to kidnapping Kamiyah. And so they had this sentencing hearing where they allowed people to testify. And you've probably seen this on your local news before, where somebody's about to get sentenced for murder or something like that. And then they let the family come in and testify and say why it is that they think that the person should get whatever sentence they should get. So Kamiyah's mom and her dad and, you know, her actual biological family, they wanted Gloria Williams to get the maximum. Now, the maximum for kidnapping is life in prison, but because Gloria pleaded guilty, she actually could have been sentenced to no jail time or up to 18 years in prison. So we learned after everybody testified, Kamiyah also testified, even though they didn't show her testimony in court. I later found out that Kamiyah actually wanted the lady to get leniency. She didn't want her to go to jail. And the point of contention with the whole situation is that Kamiyah still loves Gloria Williams, and she still wants to be a part of her life. And so, of course, the biological parents are hurt, you know, because they're like, she stole you from us. We missed out on all these years with you. How dare you want to be a part of this lady's life? So Kamiyah is torn in the sense that Gloria Williams is the only mother that she knows. And so, of course, she supports her, and then trying to build a relationship with her new family, because when you think about it, once Gloria Williams went to jail, that was her whole safety net. That was her whole life just taken away from her. So now she has to rebuild her life. And I had mentioned in my previous recap that I wonder what Kamiyah's life was going to be like after high school, after she graduated. Were there plans for her to go to college? If so, does she still get that opportunity? Because, people were arguing in the comments on the last video about we were being too judgmental and too harsh. But that biological family, now I don't know about the mother because she hasn't really been in the press that much, but that daddy and the mother folks that was on that Facebook Live, they was a little ratchet and hood. So I don't know if they are the type of parents that would encourage Kamiyah to go to college and to continue her dreams that she had with the Gloria Williams woman. But anyway, the actual sentencing was yesterday. The judge took into account everything that had taken place, what everyone had to say, and she handed down her judgment on yesterday, and the judgment was 18 years. So she gave Gloria Williams the maximum that she could under the plea deal for her pleading guilty, which was 1 year for every year that she had Kamiyah and kept Kamiyah away from her biological parents. So of course Kamiyah was upset because she wanted them to to be lenient on the lady and let the lady go, or whatever, because saying that yes, she committed a crime and she kidnapped me and she did all of this, but she was a great mother and I did have a good life. But the judge wasn't here, and that the judge gave her the 18 years. And so the mother was happy with the biological mother was happy with the 18 years. She probably wished the woman could have got life in prison, because she's like, you destroyed my life. That was my baby. You stole, the most valuable gift away from me. And I can understand her feelings. As a mother, I would feel the same way. I'd want you to be put before the firing squad if you kidnapped one of my kids. But it was just such a... And I think that a lot of people judge this based on looking at the life Kamiyah had with that was presented to us with the Gloria Williams, as well as looking at and judging the biological parents. And then people are saying, well, she did have a good life. But then when you dig deeper, and I think I mentioned this in one of the other videos, is that the Gloria Williams woman wasn't, I think she had some bad check charges. They had been evicted numerous times. She had broken up with because the whole lie began with her trying to keep her boyfriend or husband or whatever he was, because she had lost her baby and then she was trying to replace the baby with Kamiyah. So she wasn't a perfect woman, but when they showed the pictures of her and Kamiyah going on to graduate from high school and all of this stuff, that people have this picture in their mind that Kamiyah had this great life. But we really don't know, because Kamiyah could have been the difference in her mom's life, because I think the mom was a teen. She was like 16 or something when she had Kamiyah. But we don't know. Kamiyah could have changed her life and made her a better person and made her go further in life. But instead, she lived her life weighed down by the fact that she had a baby out there in the world, that she didn't know where she was, if she was alive, whatever happened to her. So I kind of see it both ways. I hate to see anybody go to jail. 18 years is a long time, especially if you ain't killed nobody or nothing like that. But then on the other hand, you don't want to be lenient with people like that, because then you make it easier for the next person who wants to kidnap somebody's child and think that they can get away with it. So the judge said that, basically there were no winners and no losers in this whole situation. And the father, he pretty much agreed with that. He had a prepared statement. Thank God that somebody had them wrote for him. And so when he did his press conference at the end of the hearing, he read it off the screen. And he seems to have mellowed down a whole lot since he did that Facebook Live. But he was basically saying that he felt that justice was served, but there were no winners, there were no losers, because Kamiyah, at the end of the day, she's still devastated and still torn by the whole situation. And so one of my subscribers asked me to compare this sentencing to the Corrine White, I think her name was. If you watch the Iyanla show, Iyanla had brought on this young lady who had gone through the same thing Kamiyah had gone through, where she had been kidnapped when she was 19 years old. But we didn't get to the part where her and Kamiyah would actually meet and sit down and talk, because, Kamiyah flipped her lid and they ended up leaving. But the Korean girl still came on and, still told her story. So in Corinne's case, she pretty much solved her own kidnapping and the lady ended up getting arrested. And her name was Ann Petaway, I think her name was. Well, Ann Petaway, this happened in New York. She received 12 years. And so the subscriber was asking what was the difference. So the difference was they were very, very, very similar situations where, you know, they were kidnapped, they were raised, they had a good life, you know, with the kidnapper. But, and then when the kidnapper was arrested, the kidnapper pled guilty to get a lesser sentence, because remember, kidnapping carries a life sentence. So by pleading guilty, you know, you get a lesser sentence. So at the time that Ann Petaway was on trial, she could have received 0 to 12 years in prison, and they gave her the maximum, which was the 12 years. But somewhere along the line, the guidelines were changed by the probation office. I think it's the Office of Probation that does the guidelines for sentencing. But they changed it and said that they raised it from whatever the 12 years. Can't remember what's 12 times 12, y'all. That's 144. So they raised it from 100. Actually, it was like 160 months, because I think it was 12 and a half years was the maximum you could get if you pled guilty. So they raised it from the 160 months up to a maximum of 210 months. And so the 210 months, I think if I did my math correctly, would be around the 18 years that Gloria Williams received. So that's why there's a difference in the amount of years that Ann Petaway received and what Gloria Williams received. Is just basically the guidelines for sentencing people who plead guilty to kidnapping was changed. But had it been the same, I think that the Ann Petaway lady would have received the maximum sentence as well. So guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you thought about the sentencing. Did you think it was fair? What do you think about Kamiyah? Like, are we concerned about Kamiyah? Are we wondering what Kamiyah is doing? Do you think that Yanli should reach out to Kamiyah and see if she can bring her back on the show and get a follow-up? Because I'm really interested in knowing what has become of her and what will become of her life since this has happened. Oh, and the other thing, the judge ruled that I think the Ann Petaway lady actually wrote a book, or there was a movie done on her. But they said in the Gloria Williams case that she cannot benefit financially from the kidnapping. So she won't be able to get a book deal. She won't be able to write, do a movie or anything like that. And also Gloria Williams is 58 years old, I think. 50. She's in her 50s. So that means she's going to be like 70 or something like that by the time she gets out of prison. Whereas the Ann Petaway lady, I think she was 50. So she'll be like 62 when she gets out of jail. So guys, that's it for me. Leave your comments below. Rate the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You can do all of that below. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.